I've been hardstuck, and for a long time too. And there was this one moment that allowed me to start improving fast. And that's exactly what I want to share with you today. When I was a teen, I had a period in which that I used League as a bit of an escape mechanism to escape my IRL life. So when I was 16, I had a really tough year. In that year, I lost my grandmother that basically cared for me when I was young. School didn't go well. I also broke my hand that year, and I also had a friend die in the MH17 plane crash. So that year was just an absolute shit show for me. And the way that I cope with that, like many people do, is that they just shut it off and they just don't talk about it. And I went completely in escape mode. And League of Legends was my escape because I was actually quite good at League of Legends, especially compared to my friends. So League was a place that allowed me to feel good about myself and allowed me to feel valued because I was the highest rank from my friend group. And in a way, they kind of looked up to me, which was, of course, very nice for me because it let me feel good, but it also led to some issues. And one of these issues was that my self worth literally got tied to my rank in League of Legends. And that means that when I would lose a game, I would be insanely toxic, flaming the shit out of my teammates because how dare they let me lose a game? How dare they let me lose LP and make me feel less of myself? The game would literally be tied towards my self-worth. They would lower my self-worth and confidence. That was my mindset back then, of course. So after a win, I would feel on top of the world. And after a loss, I would be on the verge of anger or sometimes even crying because I felt like I was less respected, less good of a human in my experience. And this led me to fully focus on the LP over anything else. And I would even say it was an actual LP addiction. So this made every single game insanely stressful, and I would fully focus on what my teammates were doing. I was so focused on the LP that I would just lose track of everything that I would be able to do myself. And this led me to being hard stuck, like hard stuck diamond for about 4 to 5 years. So, how comes I'm not now sitting here, like teaching you guys the ropes of the game? What a shift, huh? Well, there was this one massive shift, and this is the main thing that this video is all about because this is really what's going to allow you to start focusing on improvement instead of LP. And there was this massive shift because at the end of 2020, I got asked to join a competitive team, pretty low level team. I wasn't that good. I was diamond at that point. But that team had a coach, and that coach, Andreas. And Andreas, if you're watching this, massive shout out to you. But what actually started happening is that Andreas started running a few coaching sessions with me. And we had been working for some stuff for a couple of weeks. And I remember that he was like spectating my game and he was giving me some feedback after the game. And that was a game that was just a heated game. And I barely lost that game. And I probably lost like 2 games before that as well. So I turned into an absolute mental breakdown mode, like venting, complaining about my teammates being dog shit. And I just absolutely lost it. And Andreas was with me in the call, and we are like in the call, and he was like stupidly positive, like just annoyingly positive. And he was like, "This is awesome. This is the best game you've played in a while." And that shit frustrated me even more. Like, that shit got me so mad. Like, how can you not see I got inted here? And I was asking for validation. Like, please tell me I'm the victim. That was literally my mindset. How can you not see that I'm the victim and I'm getting inted here? And he said, like, no, this was the best game that you ever played. And this turned into a situation where he was like, okay, now let's take a look here. What you did right here, and this is exactly what he said to me, and this is my light bulb moment. And he said, what you did right here, could you've done this 2 weeks ago? And that led me to think, like, okay, this is something that we've worked on as a concept that we've been implementing, and could have done this 2 weeks ago. And when I really started reflecting, I was like, no, I could not do this 2 weeks ago. So then he said to me, well, that's awesome. Then you've improved. And this was the start of that light bulb moment of me starting to understand what improving and getting better and climbing is actually about, it's not the individual wins or losses. It's actually you becoming better. And once I started to have that moment, I started to, of course, work more with Andreas. And that was probably the year that I've built the most amount of progress that I've ever made in League of Legends. I think I went to like from Diamond Hardstuck towards Grandmaster within a year. And it was also then the first time that I actually reached Grandmaster. So that was this massive, massive shift in my mindset and starting to understand how to really, really look at the game and look at improving in the game, because I had the drive to win. I just didn't really know how to put that into actual wins. I was focusing on the LP, on the wins, on the losses, rather than what I was doing myself. And when I started focusing on myself, that's when actually the most amount of improvement came, because at that point I started problem solving. And of course, I had some help from Andreas, and he started problem solving with me and actually what I could change, rather than just looking at the numbers at the end of the game, getting that hit when you get the win versus feeling disgusting when you lose. It's just a massive, massive difference maker. So I see this right now in my coaching and with the people that I work with on a daily basis. And it's a really hard thing to change. So that's really why I want to make this video, because everyone's struggling with it one way or another. There's just maybe 1% of you guys that don't struggle with this. So what is my advice for you? Like, how can we really take this focus on LP towards the focus on improving ourselves? So number one, we need to truly understand and remind ourselves that becoming better is what leads you to win more games in the long run, and that LP is just a temporary thing, while your overall general skill level is what's gonna eventually get you to climb and allow you to become better. So the biggest thing is that you need to remind yourself and trick your brain into doing that for a longer period of time. And even though you may not see results initially, we got to just brute force and trick our brain to give ourselves feedback from different ways of what we're going to be looking at. So how do we actually see that we're becoming better and feel like we're becoming better? Well, that's through the learning objective, especially if you're a long-term player, right? You need to have a thing that you can chunk down into smaller components that you can focus on and that you can see your improvement on. I've had this multiple times in the last few years, is that I have these situations that I look to improve a specific part of my game. For example, a part of my laning phase, timing my abilities with enemy last hits, creating trading windows, where I just worked on it for 3 weeks and I saw no improvement for 3 weeks. But after that week, I had that one game that it just made it click for me, and it just worked, which allowed me to then reinforce my emotion into the positive way. It allowed me to keep going and going. And I saw it appear more often and more frequently, which felt that I was improving. And I did this on 3 different parts of the game, and suddenly I was 200 LP higher. Consistently, my level of play has gotten better. This is one of the ways to go about it. We can, of course, add another bit of a thing to that, is we can do a no-look LP challenge. I think there's also a program called the No Looksies. We got it in the MLA, in which that you don't see your LP after the game. You can also do it manually, in which that you just close the client after the game, don't look at your LP, do this for 2 to 3 weeks, and you'll find that you will not hyper focus on the LP anymore, because you don't know where you're at anymore, which means that it's going to like brute force your brain to actually look at what's actually happening in the game. You can also do a little bit of a 2-week challenge with yourself, in which that you try to build the habit of starting to look at the actual in-game things. But even though a lot of people like try it and say that they do it, a lot of times innately they still care so much about the LP, and still makes it super hard for them to improve. So yeah, I really want you guys to understand that one light bulb moment where you feel like you become better is going to be the time where you can start really understanding on how to shift your focus away from the LP towards the improvement. I want you guys to brute force that one thing, chunk it up as simple as possible, make your learning objective as simple as possible. Maybe just try to as one learning objective, try to track your jungle and ward towards the side of your jungle. It's super pragmatic, super easy to see if you did it well or not in the review and try to do this for 2 weeks. And you will find at the end of 2 weeks, if you compare yourself to 2 weeks before, you are astronomically better than you were 2 weeks before. And that's when you can start feeling like you become better and you will start trusting in the process.